Stop for a second and really look around you. The world you live in is not fair. It has never been fair. The people who give the most are often the ones who get ignored. The ones who are honest, loyal, and emotionally open are the ones who get used, replaced, and forgotten. Meanwhile, the ones who hold back, who stay silent, who walk away without explanation, they are the ones who leave a mark. Life is unfair. And deep down, you already know this. You've felt it. You've lived it. You've been the one who gave more, cared more, explained more, only to watch her lose interest. Not because you weren't enough, but because you were too available, too predictable, too easy to understand. You were playing by rules that were designed to make you lose. From the moment you were a child, you were taught a dangerous lie. Be kind, be honest, be open, and you will be rewarded. But no one told you that in the real world, perception beats truth. Mystery beats honesty, and emotional control beats emotional expression. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He saw what most people are too afraid to admit. Power is not about being good. It's about controlling how people feel, especially when you're not there. And when it comes to attraction, the same brutal law applies. The goal is not to be loved. The goal is to be unforgettable. In this video, you're going to uncover 9 psychological principles, dark, precise, and brutally effective, that shift you from being the man she enjoys to the man she cannot stop thinking about. No chasing, no begging, no performing, just control. But understand this, what you're about to learn is not for everyone. These are the kinds of truths people sense, but rarely say out loud. These are the patterns powerful men use instinctively, the same patterns that keep others confused, intrigued, and emotionally hooked. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. If you stay until the end, you will not only understand attraction differently, you will become someone who cannot be easily read, easily replaced, or easily forgotten. But first, I want you to make a decision. Not later, right now. Go down into the comments and type this: I control my value. This is not for me. This is your contract with yourself. Because once you cross this line, there is no going back to being the man who chases approval. Now, let's begin. Truth number 1. Clarity kills attraction. Most men believe that the more they explain themselves, the more they will be understood, and the more they will be valued. That sounds logical, that sounds honest, and that is exactly why it fails. Because the moment you try to make everything clear, predictable, and easy to understand, you remove the very tension that creates attraction. Think about your past interactions. Every time she pulled away, what did you do? You explained. You clarified your intentions. You reassured her. You tried to fix the situation with more words, more honesty, more transparency. And what happened? She didn't feel closer. She felt less. Because attraction doesn't grow in certainty. It grows in ambiguity, in the space between what is known and what is felt. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He knew that power is never given to the man who reveals everything. Power belongs to the one who controls what is seen and what is hidden. When you explain yourself, you step into a defensive frame. You hand over control. You silently say, "Judge me, decide my value." And the moment you do that, you lose authority. But when you hold back, when you allow silence to exist, when you don't rush to define every emotion, every intention, you create something rare: mystery. And mystery does something no explanation ever could. It pulls attention, it creates tension, it forces her mind to fill in the gaps. And what she imagines will always be stronger than what you say. So the next time you feel the urge to explain yourself, stop. Let the silence stretch. Let her wonder, because the man who needs to be understood is replaceable. But the man who cannot be fully figured out becomes unforgettable. Rule 1. Make her feel the risk of losing you. Most men fall into the same trap. They believe that being endlessly kind, always available, and emotionally transparent will make them more valuable. They think honesty earns respect. They think consistency builds attraction. But in reality, this behavior does the opposite. When you are always there, always giving, always forgiving, you remove all consequences. And without consequences, there is no tension. Without tension, there is no attraction. You become safe, predictable, and, eventually, invisible. This is the hidden trap of being a good man. You are not being respected, you are being managed. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wrote, "It is much safer to be feared than loved." Not because fear is cruel, but because fear introduces boundaries. It creates a psychological edge. When someone knows there is a line they cannot cross without losing you, your presence gains weight. Power is never about how much you give. It's about what you are willing to withdraw. If she knows you will stay no matter what, she relaxes. She stops investing. But if she senses even quietly that you can walk away without hesitation, everything changes. Your words matter more. Your silence becomes louder. Your absence becomes heavy. So what does this look like in practice? You stop over-explaining when something feels off. You stop negotiating your standards. And, most importantly, when a boundary is crossed, you don't argue, you withdraw. Not emotionally, not dramatically, just distance. No long messages, no lectures, no chasing closure. Just a clean shift in your presence. Because silence forces reflection, distance creates clarity, and absence teaches what words never could. The moment she realizes you are not controlled by her reactions, she begins to question her own. And that's when attraction stops being comfort and starts becoming obsession. Rule 2. Control the image, not the truth. Most men are trapped in a dangerous illusion. They believe that if they are truly good, honest, humble, authentic, it will naturally be recognized and rewarded. They think, if she just sees the real me, she'll understand my value. But that's not how the world works. People don't respond to your truth. They respond to what they perceive. You can be intelligent, loyal, and grounded. But if your presence feels uncertain, if your energy feels hesitant, if your behavior signals doubt, none of your inequalities matter. Especially in attraction, perception always comes before reality. This is the trap: over-explaining, oversharing, trying to prove who you are. The more you reveal, the less there is to discover. And what is fully understood is rarely desired. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wrote, "It is not necessary to be good. It is necessary to appear good." Not as a call to deception, but as a recognition of how power actually works. Power lies in framing. Whoever controls the image controls the interpretation. And whoever controls interpretation controls emotion. When you let others define you through your reactions, your need to be understood, your impulse to clarify, you lose that control. You become predictable, and predictability kills intrigue. So what do you do instead? You become selective. You stop explaining every emotion. You stop revealing every intention. You let people experience you without giving them full access to you. In practice, this means speaking less, but with more weight. Holding eye contact a second longer. Not reacting immediately when tested. And allowing silence to carry meaning. You show strength through stillness, certainty through restraint. Because when she cannot fully read you, she begins to feel you more. And that's the shift. You are no longer trying to be understood. You are shaping how you are experienced. Rule 3. Be both the lion and the fox. Most men make a critical mistake. They choose one extreme and think it's enough. They try to be completely honest, direct, and emotionally expressive, Believing strength means saying everything they feel. Or they go the opposite way, calm, agreeable, always understanding, thinking that being easygoing makes them attractive. Both paths fail. If you are only direct and emotional, you become predictable, easy to provoke, easy to control. She pushes, you react. She tests, you explain. Your strength turns into noise. If you are only calm and agreeable, you become safe, but weak. You avoid conflict. You tolerate disrespect. And slowly, she stops seeing you as a man who can lead. This is the trap. Thinking one trait, honesty or calmness, is enough. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wrote that a ruler must be both a lion and a fox. The lion to frighten wolves, the fox to recognize traps. Power is never one-dimensional. The lion represents boundaries, presence, the ability to stand firm without hesitation. The fox represents awareness, control, the ability to observe without revealing your hand. If you lack the lion, you get disrespected. If you lack the fox, you get manipulated. So what does this look like in real life? When she tests you emotionally, pulling away, changing tone, creating tension, you don't react immediately. You become the fox. You watch, you stay calm, you don't explain or chase. You let her behavior reveal itself. But when a clear boundary is crossed, you become the lion. Not with anger, not with loud words, but with decisive action. You pull back, you reduce access, you shift your energy. No arguments, no long explanations. Just a clear signal, this is not acceptable. That balance is what creates unpredictability, and unpredictability creates tension. Because she cannot read you, she cannot control you, and the man who cannot be controlled is the man she cannot forget. Let me ask you something. Why are you always the one explaining? Why are you the one trying to fix the tension while she leans back and watches? Why does it feel like the more you give, the less she values it? And the real question, when was the last time someone feared losing you? Think about it. Are you being respected or just tolerated? Are you creating attraction or just maintaining comfort? Are you in control of the dynamic or reacting to it? Be honest, because nothing changes until you face where you actually stand. If something in you is starting to wake up right now, don't ignore it. Go down into the comments and type this: I don't chase, I attract. Lock it in. This is how you break the old pattern. This is how you remind yourself you are not here to beg for attention, you are here to command it. Now, let's go deeper. Rule 4. Create doubt instead of seeking agreement. Most men fall into a subtle but destructive trap. They think attraction grows through agreement, so they nod, they validate, they mirror her opinions to appear compatible. They believe that if she feels understood and comfortable, she will feel connected. But comfort without tension leads to boredom. When you constantly agree, you remove friction, and without friction, there is no spark. You become predictable, safe, easy to categorize. And once she feels like she fully understands you, her curiosity dies. This is the hidden cost of always being nice and agreeable. You are not building attraction, you are dissolving it. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. His principle of divide and conquer wasn't just about war, it was about the mind. Real power doesn't come from forcing someone to change. It comes from introducing a small crack in their certainty and letting them question themselves. Because once doubt enters the mind, it grows on its own. You don't need to argue. You don't need to prove anything. In fact, the moment you try to win logically, you lose emotionally. So what does this look like in practice? Instead of agreeing immediately, you introduce a subtle shift. She says, "I don't like men who do X." You respond calmly, almost playfully. "Are you sure? Or is that just what you tell yourself?" Then you stop. No explanation, no debate, just silence. That one line does more than 1,000 arguments ever could. It creates tension. It plants curiosity. It forces her to revisit her own belief, not because you pushed her, but because you made her think. And that's the key. You don't fight her reality. You disturb it, gently. Then you step back and let her mind do the work. Because the man who needs to be agreed with is forgettable. But the man who makes her question herself stays in her head long after the conversation ends. Rule 5. Reward slowly, withdraw instantly. Most men get this completely backwards. They think consistency means giving more attention, more validation, more reassurance. When things go well, they flood her with energy. And when something feels off, they argue, explain, or try to fix it emotionally. This is the trap. When you reward too much and punish too softly, you train her to take you for granted. Your presence becomes expected, not earned, and your reactions become noise, not consequence. The more predictable your behavior, the less impact it has. And once your presence loses impact, so do you. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wrote, "Injuries must be inflicted all at once, but benefits should be given little by little." This wasn't cruelty, it was strategy. Fast pain creates memory. Slow reward creates desire. Power is not about how much you give. It's about how you control the timing of what you give. If someone crosses a line and you respond with long explanations or emotional reactions, you dilute the consequence. You make it negotiable. But when the response is immediate and controlled, it lands. So what does this look like in practice? When a boundary is crossed, you don't argue. You don't justify. You don't escalate. You withdraw. Calmly, cleanly, without drama. No long messages, no emotional speeches, just a shift in availability, a change in tone, a reduction of access. And then you let silence do the work. On the other side, when she shows respect, effort, or alignment, you don't over-reward. You acknowledge it, briefly. A small compliment, a moment of warmth. Then you pull back again. This creates contrast. She doesn't feel overwhelmed by your presence. She becomes aware of it. Because unpredictability creates attention. And attention creates attachment. The man who gives everything at once is easy to forget. But the man who controls when he gives and when he disappears becomes impossible to ignore. Rule 6. Observe deeply, speak minimally. Most men sabotage themselves before they even realize it. They believe attraction is built by talking, by complimenting, entertaining, or constantly expressing interest. So they fill every silence. They react quickly. They try to impress with words. But in doing that, they reveal everything. They show their intentions too early, their interests too clearly, their thoughts too openly. And once a person is fully understood, they lose their edge. This is the trap, confusing expression with impact. The more you talk, the less weight your words carry. The more you try to impress, the less you actually influence. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He emphasized that a powerful man is not easily read, because once people understand your patterns, your reactions, your desires, they can predict you. And what can be predicted can be controlled. Power lies in observation. Not passive observation, but precise, intentional awareness. You are not there to react. You are there to understand. So what does this look like in practice? You stop focusing on what to say next and start watching what others miss. Her tone when she's uncertain. Her energy when she's trying to impress. The difference between when she's being real and when she's performing. You gather information without revealing your own. And then, at the right moment, you say one thing. Not many words, just one precise observation. You're confident, but only when you feel in control. Then you stop. No smile, no explanation, no follow-up. Just silence. That moment does something powerful. It breaks her pattern. It makes her feel seen, not on the surface, but beneath it. And because you didn't chase a reaction, the impact stays. This is the shift. You are no longer trying to be interesting. You are becoming impossible to ignore. Because the man who talks too much is remembered briefly, but the man who sees clearly and speaks rarely stays in the mind long after he's gone. Let me ask you something again. Are you the one always filling the silence, or the one who controls it? Are you reacting to her behavior, or quietly studying it? When you speak, do your words land, or do they just pass through? And here's the uncomfortable one. Do people feel your presence, or just your effort? Because there's a difference. One creates impact, the other creates noise. Now, think deeper. Are you revealing too much too soon? Are you trying to be liked instead of being respected? Are you talking when you should be watching? Be honest with yourself. Because the moment you become predictable, you become replaceable. If something inside you is starting to shift, lock it in. Go to the comments and type, "I speak less, I see more." Make it real. This is your reminder that power doesn't come from saying more. It comes from understanding more than you reveal. Now, we go even deeper. Rule 7. Control through strategic absence. Most men are afraid of one thing: disappearing. They believe that if they stop texting, stop showing up, stop giving attention, they will be forgotten. So they stay. They respond quickly. They keep conversations alive even when the energy is gone. They try to maintain connection through constant presence. And that is the trap. When you are always available, you lose weight. Your presence becomes normal, expected, easily replaceable. There is no space for anticipation, no room for curiosity. You become part of the background of her life, not the highlight of it. Consistency without scarcity creates indifference. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He warned that a ruler who is seen too often becomes ordinary. Power requires distance, because distance creates perception, and perception creates value. What is always there is rarely appreciated. What can disappear at any moment is never ignored. Absence is not weakness. It is a psychological lever. When you remove your presence, you create a void, and the human mind is wired to fill that void. She begins to replay your last words. She questions your silence. She wonders what changed. Not because you explained anything, but because you didn't. So, what does this look like in practice? You stop reacting instantly. You don't reply out of habit. You don't force conversations when energy drops. And when you feel your value is being taken for granted, you step back. Not dramatically, not emotionally. Just less. Less availability, less attention, less access. No announcements. No, "I need space" speeches. You simply redirect your focus. And here's the key: when you return unchanged, calm, grounded, unbothered. This creates contrast. She doesn't feel controlled, she feels uncertain. And uncertainty creates attention. Because now, she knows something most men never communicate. You can walk away and be completely fine. And the man who can leave without fear is the man who is never truly lost. Rule 8. Become an unfinished story. Most men believe honesty means full transparency. They think the more they explain how they feel, what they want, where things are going, the stronger the connection becomes. So they seek closure. They define everything. They make sure nothing is left unclear. And that is the trap. Clarity feels safe, but it kills intrigue. When everything is explained, there is nothing left to explore. No tension, no curiosity, no reason for her mind to return to you once you're gone. You become complete in her mind, and what is complete is closed. And closed things don't linger. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He knew that power is not just in what you show, but in what you leave unresolved. A mind that is certain rests. A mind that is questioning stays active. Control is not about forcing attention. It's about leaving something unfinished, so attention keeps returning on its own. When there is no closure, the brain creates its own narrative. It fills the gaps. It replays moments. It searches for meaning. And in that process, you stay alive in her thoughts. So what does this look like in practice? You stop over-defining the connection. You don't rush to label everything. You don't explain every silence, every shift, every decision. If you leave, leave cleanly. No long emotional explanations. No final speech trying to be understood. Just absence. Let the last interaction breathe. Let it remain slightly open. Even in conversation, you don't answer everything directly. You leave space. You allow pauses. You let certain thoughts hang without resolution. Not to confuse, but to create depth. Because the truth is simple. People forget what is clear. They remember what they couldn't fully understand. And the man who becomes an unanswered question is the one who is hardest to replace. Rule 9. Become the turning point, not the memory. Most men make the same mistake. They try to be liked. They try to be remembered as a good guy, someone kind, supportive, easy to be with. They believe consistency and emotional availability will make them special. But here's the truth. People don't remember what was easy. They remember what changed them. When you are always agreeable, always understanding, always predictable, you leave no mark. You become part of a pattern she has seen before. Comfortable, yes, but forgettable. This is the trap. Confusing being appreciated with being impactful. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this at a deeper level. Power is not about presence alone, it is about influence over perception. The one who shapes how others see themselves holds real control. Because the strongest attachment doesn't come from what you give someone, it comes from how you make them experience themselves. If nothing shifts inside her because of you, you disappear from her story. So what does this look like in practice? You stop trying to impress and start revealing. Not everything, just enough. You observe deeply, and when the moment is right, you say something that cuts through the surface. Not a compliment, not validation. A truth. You act like you don't care, but you notice everything. Then you stop. No explanation, no softening, just silence. That moment creates impact. Because you didn't chase approval, you exposed something real. And when someone feels seen at that level, it disrupts their internal narrative. And here's the final shift. You don't need to stay. You don't need to explain your exit. You leave cleanly and let that moment echo. Because the man who tries to be remembered is forgotten. But the man who becomes a turning point in someone's life is never fully left behind. You see it now, don't you? The patterns, the reactions, the invisible game that has been playing you your entire life. You thought attraction was about being better, being kinder, being more understanding, but now you understand the truth most people will never admit. This was never about effort. It was about positioning. And once you see that, you can't go back. You are no longer the man who chases approval. You are no longer the man who explains his worth. You are no longer the man who stays where he is not respected. You see the game, and more importantly, you see your place in it. Power and respect are not given, they are taken. Not through force, not through manipulation, but through control of your presence, your silence, your standards. From this point forward, every move you make carries weight. Every word you choose or choose not to say has intention. Because you are no longer reacting, you are deciding. And that changes everything. But understanding is not enough. Most people will watch this, feel something, and then go back to who they were. You won't, because you've already made a different choice. So if this opened your eyes even a little, do 3 things right now. Hit like, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who is still being overlooked, underestimated, or used. Because the people who need this the most are the ones still playing blind. Now, we seal this. Go to the comments and type, "I control my destiny." Not for me, for you. This is your line in the sand. The moment you stop negotiating your value and start defining it. Remember this: you don't chase attention. You create gravity. You don't beg for respect. You become the standard. Stay sharp, stay aware, because the world rewards those who understand it, not those who wish it were different. And if you commit to this path, if you actually live it, not just watch it, your future self will thank you.